Tánaiste, the Taoiseach said at the weekend that the Government and Irish Water will provide greater clarity on charges for the public after the Cabinet meeting on Tuesday. On Monday we had an apology from Minister Kelly and from Mr Tierney of Irish Water, accepted the mistakes that had been made. On Tuesday, Minister Kelly got dug in. He took the entire press pack to Ringsend, to a sewerage treatment plant. I think a fitting backdrop for where the Government have landed themselves on this issue. He agreed that the legislation to set up Irish Water was rushed, that it was wrong not to debate it in this House, and he pointedly reminded us that it wasn't a Cabinet that he was a member of when the decision was taken. You clearly were, Tánaiste, as was the Taoiseach. We had confirmation from yourself also on Tuesday that a family of 2 adults and 2 adult children would expect to pay no more than €200. So at last it seemed that a breakthrough was emerging on what citizens would pay for water. That was all thrown on its head yesterday when the Taoiseach came to the House. And while you were having a press conference elsewhere, he told us that when you were here in your capacity as the Minister for Social Protection, that you were in fact expressing a personal opinion. Now that to me is an amazing situation, that the Taoiseach would say, while you're in your position here answering questions, that you're able to somehow take off the cloak of Tánaiste, take off the heaviness of the Office of Social Protection, and you are speaking in a personal capacity. What really is mind-boggling, though, is that the concept of Irish Water, which was established by Fine Gael, or promised by Fine Gael back in 2009, accepted by this Government in 2011, that it has effectively ignored the concerns that were raised in this House, ignored the concerns of the citizens of Ireland, and rammed it down their throat. You're asking people to fill out forms, to provide their PPS numbers, which you sneakily slotted in through an amendment to the Social Protection Act since September. But nobody can actually confirm today, as we head into the middle of November, what they will pay for water, notwithstanding that the charges have started since the 1st of October. Now we face this farcical situation where the Economic Management Council are meeting in secret to discuss this situation, and all the time ignoring this House and the mandate that those of us on this side of the House, and indeed many of your backbenchers have, and indeed Deputy Griffin and Deputy Stagg have been reminding you about the difficulties that you have in that regard. So, Tánaiste, my question for you is, do you think it's acceptable that the public will have to wait another 2 weeks before clarity is brought to the charging structure for a service that has begun, we understand, since the 1st of October? Can you clarify for us if you still believe, or if it's now your professional view, that €200 will be the charge for families of 2 adults and 2 adult children? More importantly,
sorry, we're over time, David.
But if I could just conclude
no, you're way
will you
over.
pause this runaway train, Tánaiste?
No, sorry, you've
allow
put your
for a
question.
proper debate in this House to ensure that those of us who have a mandate and have a contribution to make can assist in resolving this mess once and for all.
Thank you, Deputy Dooley. And first of all, I'm very happy to say that I believe very solid, very good progress has been made in relation to Irish Water. I've said, and I'll repeat again, my objective, the objective of the Labour Party, the objective of Fine Gael, the objective of the Government is to have an Irish Water charging regime which is affordable, and where there is clarity and where there is certainty in relation to the pricing structure, and where it is capped so that if in fact people, on the evidence of the meters, are using less water than in fact the standard charges would indicate, they will be in a position to get a rebate. Now, I was delighted to appoint Minister Alan Kelly to become the Minister for the Environment, and I'm happy to say that he's entered in with his usual energy and gusto into addressing the issues relating to Irish Water. And as a fellow Tipperary man, Deputy McGrath, I'm sure you're only delighted, and we expect you to reflect on that. You must be. Now, Tipperary people are normally proud of each other, particularly when they're on the national stage. So I assume that that's what I was hearing from that particular quarter. Anyway, just let me say, The objective here, let's be very clear, in terms of Ireland, is that we have clean, safe, healthy drinking water. That we have that for all of us, for all our children, for all our grandchildren. That's absolutely important. We know that as a country we have a lot of rain and there is no shortage of water, thankfully, but we also know that treating water for human and for public consumption is a costly business, and we know as well that it costs to take it to somebody's house, and it also costs to take the wastewater away, and that's what we're talking about. Now, I'm delighted that very solid progress is being made. I know, and I can't remember, was it former Taoiseach Charlie Haughey, did he hold the Fianna Fáil government meetings and cabinet subcommittee meetings in public? I think I must have missed most of those, but it's certainly a development. It's certainly a development when the Fianna Fáil spokesperson is suggesting, if I misunderstood it, you correct me please, but you suggested that the cabinet subcommittees meet in private, including the Economic Management Council. I think that that's been practice and is practice over a long period of time. Well, you know, all I can say is that I'm very happy that very solid progress is being made, and I am very anxious on behalf of the government to see affordable charges that give us clean, reliable, healthy drinking water, but also we have an ambitious programme over the next 10 years of roughly 10 billion to invest in Irish water. You mentioned again Minister Kelly. When Minister Kelly went to Ringsend the other day, this was a project that, when it was under the control of the local authorities, was estimated to come in at a ballpark figure of around 350 million. Since Irish Water took over, the actual estimated cost now has been revised downwards to be somewhere around 170, 180 million. Well, if that's what one Tipperary man can do in 4 months in office as Minister for the Environment, I think it's good. It's a good performance from the tip stars.
This is leaders' questions. Thank you, Deputy.
Well, Tánaiste.
Sorry, please.
That's all, Tánaiste, you're right. I never thought I'd sit here and hear you say that you'd take from Charlie Haughey's School of Politics to assist you in performing your duties, but it's, I'm sure he'd be turning in his grave at the thought of it. Tánaiste, first of all, you've indicated your confidence in Minister Kelly and the gusto in which he has approached his job. That's interesting. I think that's a kick in the shin to the Taoiseach based on his comments yesterday. That's more than a thinly veiled criticism of EU Commissioner Hogan, and one which you might ponder on, if you would, please. Minister Hogan, as he was, is now EU Commissioner, and I think he deserves the support of everybody in this House. Tánaiste, nobody has a problem with the notion of the costs associated with treating water and treating sewage. All of that is a given. But the concern I have is that the Economic Management Council are trying to use a patchwork approach to a problem that has effectively spiralled out of control.
Deputy.
What I'm asking you, with respect, what I'm asking the Tánaiste is if she will allow time in this House to provide the backbenchers in both government parties and the people on this side of the House an opportunity to debate the legislation, debate the issue that we didn't get in December when you rammed it through this House. You rammed it down the throats of the Irish people. It's not too late for you to pause the charging structure for a number of months, allow a comprehensive debate and bring forward a plan that will meet the needs and the ability to pay of the citizens of this state. But if you think 4 of you closeted in a room and you take some kind of cover from the approach Charlie Haughey took 30 years ago, well then I think you have failed to realise where the Irish people are and what they expect.
You're over time.
It certainly isn't the kind of transparency that you sought to suggest that you would bring to the Irish people when you signed the programme of government back in 2011.
On the transparency front, what Irish people want is clean, clear, healthy water. You left your party, having left government, left a legacy where people in Roscommon can't drink the water, going on for 12 years now. Now, after Christmas and in the new year, the people of Roscommon, and I thought you would be positive about that, will be able to drink the water. We have an ambitious investment programme into Irish Water over the next 10 years of over €10 million. Now, if you want, and if Fianna Fáil is suggesting that all of that financing should come directly via the Irish taxpayers, particularly through income tax. If that's what Fianna Fáil is suggesting, can I suggest that to do that would be to fail to use a resource that in the past history of your party being in government, you have seen a situation where the ESB and Bord Gáis have used off-balance sheet funding mechanisms as publicly owned utility to bring forward desperately needed investment into the infrastructure of the country. And we are using the same model. Just let me say, it makes business sense, it makes economic sense, and in terms of our recovery, which we're all very interested in, it allows us to provide key investment into a resource that is just incredibly important in the daily lives of everybody in this country, not to mention its importance for agriculture, tourism, for pharmaceutical and international investment, and for local businesses in Ireland.
Thank you. David.